Hello, I'm Keith Casebolt from Creative Media of Kentucky. Congratulations on entering into the world of politics. Now, your upcoming race is going to require all of your focus on the issues and those who are going to possibly vote for you. So, the one thing that you don't need to worry about is the media. I'm talking bumper stickers, billboards, newspaper print, radio, television, digital. Who do you buy? Cable, broadcast. There's a lot of decisions to be made. We're the experts at that. We take all of that off your plate, put your campaign together, and handle all of the buying and all of the production. Now that gives you the time to do what you need to. Meet all of the voters, focus on the issues, and get elected. Give us a call at Creative Media of Kentucky.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law of Life provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law of Life with Gary C. Johnson and Keith Casebolt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law of Life. I'm Keith Casebolt. This radio program created by my dear friend who's across from me, Gary C. Johnson. Hello, friend.
Hello, my very good friend. Isn't it wonderful to be alive?
I'm telling you, Gary, I could only wish that our friends have as much laughter as you and I have today. We haven't been able to see each other for about 5 or 6 days, and we were just catching up. And I've literally laughed until I've cried. I've got tears in my eyes, just you and I talking about life and the goodness that it is to be here.
And all the wonderful things that's happening, all the miracles that happen every day.
Yes. Oh, you've pointed out there's bad things. There's a war going on. There's other things, but there's a lot of great things going on.
Well, look at how the world is responding and getting together. Who would have ever dreamed that?
You know, I keep thinking about what you tell me. Could be good, could be bad. So this guy, Putin, thinks that if he does this, it's going to weaken the NATO union. And instead, it's had the opposite effect. It's strengthening.
It's not just the NATO union that's joining it. It's every decent country in the world.
Even though they don't belong to NATO.
That's right.
They're coming in and saying, wait a minute, we might want to be a part of this.
Well, think about it. We've had all of this peace all of these years because other people have respected other nations' sovereignty.
Yeah.
And all at once, this warmonger, literally, whatever he is, evil man, decides to declare war and start killing innocent people. Now think about that. That's murder.
You know what I thought of? You remember the story you told about the jury system back in the King's Day when they would not come back with a guilty verdict. And they played that tape of the 13 soldiers on the island who basically told them what they could go do to themselves. And when they did that number 13, I thought about the jury and how they stood up. And then I saw these ladies who said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not fleeing. I'm going to pick up a rifle. And I thought, you people are absolute heroes.
No question about it.
You are the bravest of the brave, and you're standing up to the giant, Goliath, and you're being David.
Mm-hmm. But anyhow, we don't talk about sad stuff on this show.
No.
Right? We
Good
talk
stuff.
about the fact that my friends are going to be happy, which we did last year. And this year, now that they're happy, they're going to be successful.
Hey, we're all looking for that happiness and success. That's the two things that we're all looking for.
And in this book of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about one of the things you have to be successful is persistence.
Boy, that's a word we don't like, isn't it?
You got to be persistent, right?
Yeah, we got to get up off that couch every day.
And then he makes a list of the enemies of persistence. And I'm going to read, my friends, some of those. Okay?
I can't wait to hear these.
Number 1, failure to recognize and to clearly define exactly what one wants.
Oh, okay. So we come out and we say, I just want to be successful.
That doesn't cut it.
How do you want to be successful?
And how do you define successful for you?
What is the meaning? What's the goal?
What do you want?
Yeah.
Number 2, and this bites us all. Procrastination, with or without cause.
you know, one of these days, I think I told you this a year or two ago. One of these days, I'm going to open this company, and you said, "What do you mean, one of these days? Why don't you do it now?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, you called me out on the carpet." That procrastination of saying someday.
Mm-hmm. And it's a disease.
Someday is today.
That's right. Number 3, lack of interest in acquiring some specialized knowledge that can make you be successful.
I think I like that one best of all. So in other words, you want to own a successful restaurant. Are you willing to become a chef?
Are you willing to do the work?
Are you willing to be able to make the sandwiches and do the work?
Are you going to be persistent? Number 4. Oh, this is a good one. Indecision. The habit of passing the buck on occasions instead of facing issues squarely.
Now, what's your famous line that you've told me time and time again? Keith, indecision is a decision.
I mean, no decision is a decision, too.
Yes, no decision and indecision. It is a decision.
Yeah, and it's always the wrong one. Number 5, the habit of relying upon alibis instead of creating definite plans for the solutions to the problems.
The good old alibi.
If. The old ifs.
If this happens or if that happens, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this
Instead of
happen.
saying, I'm going to do this and it will be okay.
Now, here's one that I think we need to really think about. It's number 6, self-satisfaction. There is but little remedy for this affliction and no hope for those who suffer from it. In other words, it's called big I, little you.
Self-satisfaction. So is that saying I've already accomplished what I want?
I'm already the best of all there is.
Oh, I don't need to prove myself.
No, I don't need to do anything.
Yeah. I could if I wanted to.
I'm going to read that one to you again.
Yeah.
There is but little remedy for this affliction and no hope for those who suffer from it.
So those are the people that sit back and say, I could do what he's
I
doing
could if.
a lot better.
If.
Boy, if I was in his position, I would make this decision and I would make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Number 7, indifference. Usually reflected in one's readiness to compromise on all occasions rather than meet opposition and fight it. Again,
Okay, here's the people of Ukraine that we just talked about.
they're not indifferent. They're fighting for their country.
They're standing up and saying, come what may, this is the path I've chosen.
And again, we're talking about the symptoms of the lack of persistence, the excuses that are used
Which
to
is
not be persistent so you can be successful.
Which is a major key to success, persistence.
Okay, number 8, it's the habit of blaming others for one's mistake and accepting unfavorable circumstances as being unavoidable.
Well, yeah, it had to happen. I knew it was going to go wrong, and plus I didn't have the people around me that I needed.
Well, and it was such and such fault.
Oh yeah, if they had have only done their job,
Yeah, if they had done, then I would have been okay.
Boy, how many times did I hear that word over the weekend?
They say.
It brings a complete smile to my face every time because nobody knows who they are.
They can't ever define them.
You never get a name. It's just always they.
Number 9 is weakness of desire due to neglect in the choice of motives that impel action. In other words, you don't want it bad enough.
To my knowledge, neither one of us have any musical talent. But I made that old statement. I would give anything to be able to play the guitar. And the guy said, would you practice 3 hours a day? And I said, hell no. I'm not going to practice 3 hours a day. And he said, well, then you wouldn't give anything to be able to play.
Okay, what's number 10? Okay, it's willingness, even eagerness, to quit at the first sign of defeat.
First time you see that pebble in the road, yeah, that's going to be too tough. I'm just going to give up now.
That's right.
I can understand that.
At the first indication of defeat, quit.
So we're all gung-ho until we get the first obstacle.
Right. And again, we're talking about the symptoms of the lack of persistence. The excuses are used. Number 11, lack of organized plans placed in writing where they may be analyzed and thought about.
That's vitally important, isn't it? Okay, I want to do this, and you look at me and say, Keith, what's your plans? What's your 3-year plan? What's your budget? How are you going to accomplish this? What are you going to put together? And then if you look back at me and say, take a look at this. This may be wrong. You're analyzing it, trying to help me. I shouldn't get upset. I should say thank you.
But instead, you pout about it.
Of course. That's why we're doing this program. You're 100% right.
What's number 12? The habit of neglecting to move on ideas or to grasp opportunity when it presents itself.
Let me ask you this on that question. Are there people out there right now that's listening to this program that has had multi-million-dollar ideas? They've talked about it, and then finally somebody else did it.
That's the way it works.
The old saying about the guy that was in the bar and he had stood beside the lady for an hour, and a guy walked up and said, do you want to dance? And the guy said, wait a minute, I've been here for an hour. He said, yeah, but I'm the one that asked her to dance.
Mm-hmm.
He never asked her in an hour. So there's people that's had wonderful ideas, they never acted upon them.
But now my friends that are listening this year, they're going to act on their ideas.
Absolutely.
They're going to act on every single one of them.
That's why we're doing this program.
Number 13 is sitting around wishing instead of being willing to do something.
Yeah. Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yep.
Number 14, the habit of compromising with poverty instead of aiming at riches. General absence of ambition to be, to do, and to own.
But Gary, that one is so important. And maybe some of our friends will say, okay, I didn't get that one. All right, if you weren't born with anything, it's easy to fall into, well, that's not my life. I was born into a different life. That's not for me. That's for other people. I can see that.
The habit of compromising with poverty.
In other words, I'm okay with it.
When you don't have to be.
You could just as easily be the opposite.
You just as easily say, I'm not going to compromise with poverty. I'm going to aim at riches and success.
Because it feels better.
And then that follows with what he says is a general absence of ambitions to be, to do, and to own.
So what happens for anybody that's listening to this program that says, wait a minute, Gary, are you talking about greed? We're not talking about greed.
Nope.
At all. We're talking about why not be successful if you want to be?
Yeah.
And if there's things that's holding you back, it may be some of these 15 things you
and
just
now that
mentioned.
our friends are happy, they need to be successful.
You know what I like about that? You brought happiness before success. In other words, you're saying to everyone,
That's right.
you can be happy no matter what. But now that you're happy,
Let's go ahead and go after some success to go with it, okay?
let's go ahead and be successful.
The first year was to be happy. Now this year we're going to say, okay, now that we're happy, my friends, let's go be successful.
Yeah, because you got the happy part taken care of.
Yes,
You
sir.
can't fail.
That's right. Number 15, and this is a good one. Searching for all the shortcuts to riches. Trying to get without giving a fair equivalent, usually reflected in the habit of gambling, endeavoring to drive sharp bargains, playing a lottery, and so forth.
You know, I get so tickled when they do the math that says if you just put back 10% of everything that you earn, in X amount of years, you'll have $1 million. You'll be financially. We don't do that. We do exactly what you say. We think that we're going to hit the big lick.
We're going to take a shortcut.
We're going to take a shortcut, and we're going to get all these riches without paying the price.
Folks, I've studied hard for at least 50 years for a free ride, and I still haven't found one.
It's not there. It's just not there, is it?
It's not for me, it wasn't. Never did find it. If any of you found it, let me know, okay?
You do the program, and Gary and I'll
have you coming in on the program and explain to us how that happened. It's not.
I'm in agreement with you. There's no thing that can change hard work and persistence and a goal and a definite plan.
Amen. Now, number 16, and the last one he's got in the symptoms of the lack of persistence.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the most important one. It wasn't number 1. It's 16. It's the last one, okay?
But it could be the most important.
It is the most important one. He's got it highlighted as the most important one.
Okay.
Fear of criticism.
Try as I might. Here I am, 57 years old. My hair is solid white. I'm an old guy to people. You would think at my age that if you criticized me, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't sting. I wouldn't talk about it. Gary, it's almost impossible to brush off the criticism. We react to it, and we have a fear of it, especially if we think we're going to fail or somebody is going to say, I told you so. It paralyzes us.
And then this is what he has to say about the fear of criticism. Failure to create plans and to put them into action because of what other people will think, do, or say. This enemy belongs at the head of the list.
Number 1.
Because it generally exists in one's subconscious mind where its presence is not recognized. And it is devastating to people, the fear of criticism. Then he says, let us examine some of the symptoms of the fear of criticism. The majority of people permit relatives, friends, and the public at large to so influence them that they cannot live their own lives because they fear criticism. Huge number of people make mistakes in marriage, stand by the bargain, and go through life miserable and unhappy because they fear criticism which may follow if they correct the mistake. Millions of people neglect to acquire belated educations after having left school because they fear criticism. Countless number of men and women, both young and old, permit relatives to wreck their lives in the name of duty because they fear criticism. People refuse to take chances in business because they fear the criticism which may follow if they fail. The fear of criticism in such cases is stronger than the desire for success. I'm going to read that to my friends again. Now listen to this. The fear of criticism in such cases is stronger than the desire for success.
We would rather steer clear of criticism than take a chance on being successful and happy.
Because of the fear of criticism.
Now, I was thinking of the worst criticism, the one that hurt me worst in my life in 57 years of all my life. Out of the blue, when would you think it occurred?
Probably when you were a child.
It was in grade school. My mother was sending me to school with a pair of pants that were too short for me. I was afraid someone would make fun of my pants because they didn't come down to my shoes. When I got to school, there was a little girl who said to me, "The water must have been really high at your house." I said, "No, it didn't even rain. What happened?" She said, "Oh, there had to be a flood." I said, "I don't get what you're talking about." And she said, "Well, with those high waders that you're wearing, I'm sure the water had to be up." Now, my heart was broken. Here it is, almost 50 years later, and I still remember that.
Those high waders.
Now, forever, I held it against this lady, who's a lady my age now. But now I look at what you're saying about the fear of criticism. Look how that affected me as a child in grade school. And here I am, a 57-year-old man, and you're telling us we need to go and be successful and not worry about criticism? Oh, no wonder it's number one.
Here's one other thing he says about it. Too many people refuse to set high goals for themselves or even neglect selecting a career because they fear the criticisms of relatives and friends who may say, "Don't aim so high. That's not who you are. People will think you're crazy."
Crazy and uppity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get above your raising.
That's not you.
No. You weren't meant to be. You're just a little person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no such thing as a little person, my friend. And if any of you have ever said that, bite your tongue.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
Isn't it?
Here's another thing. I want to read what he says. Many people believe that material success is a result of favorable breaks. There is an element of ground for the belief, but those depending entirely upon luck are nearly always disappointed because they overlook another important factor which must be present before one can be sure of success. It is the knowledge with which favorable breaks can be made to order.
So the person that looks out there and says, "Oh, well, Gary, you're reading all this advice, but you got lucky. You had a good break. You had this, you had that." You're sitting there going, "Yeah, I had 50 years of hard work, studying, all the things that you had to do to
Getting
get
out of
there."
bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Work on Saturdays, work on Sundays. You did it all. You did everything you had to do in order to make your own break and your own luck.
Now, he's got 4 ways you can develop persistence instead of the symptoms of why you don't have it, okay?
So we can get rid of the 16 with four ways?
Number 1 is a definite purpose backed by burning desire for its fulfillment. That's number 1.
This is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it.
Then number 2, you have a continuous plan expressed in continuous action.
Here's how I'm going to do it.
Yep. Number 3, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, including negative suggestions of relatives, friends, and acquaintances. In other words, your relatives, friends, and acquaintances may be your frenemies when it comes to this.
In other words, I don't have time to listen to your negativity because I'm too busy trying to achieve what it is I want to do.
Because I now have a definite plan backed by burning desire for its fulfillment, right?
Yeah, I got it.
And this is very important, this number 4. A friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage one to follow through with both plan and purpose. You need somebody, you need a cheerleader.
A mentor.
Yeah, a mentor or a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Somebody that will say, keep going, you can do this, you can.
And somebody who's done it themselves.
And if you do this, you will master fear, discouragement, and indifference.
Boy, isn't that amazing? What an armor to put on.
Yep.
I mean, that's quite a shield to be able to carry.
It's amazing how that fear of criticism, how much I guarantee you that thousands and maybe even millions of dollars have been lost to friends that are listening to this program simply because of the fear of criticism.
If you're one of those people who have held back because of it and have decided that you're not going to do it anymore, reach out to Gary at GaryCJohnson.com.
Let us know you did it, okay?
Just tell us, hey, you're right. I was afraid of criticism, but I'm not anymore. Thanks to this program, I am going to do it, no matter what.
And be successful.
And persistent. And if you're one of those people that had to wear high waders to school, you can join me with the criticism and move forward with it. I have thoroughly enjoyed this program.
We're going forward, buddy, forward.
Going to be successful.
My friends are going to be successful this year.
Hey, and
they deserve it.
For those of you that have just tuned in and said, what are these two guys talking about? Gary is Gary C. Johnson, who owns the Gary C. Johnson Law Firm. As far as I'm concerned, he is the best personal injury attorney in the world, and that's my endorsement because I've been around him and I know that. And I'm Keith Casebolt. I'm a radio guy, a disc jockey, a marketing guy, and I have the good fortune of having my friend be Gary C. Johnson and to have these conversations. I call him up if he's gone for 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, you got to get home. We've got to talk. there's things we got to talk about.
That's right. Amen.
And we enjoy it. My friend, thank you so much for this program.
And my friends, I hope and pray that each and every single one of you become successful and continue to be happy.
Because they deserve it.
Absolutely. Who deserves it more than my friends?
Amen to that. You can catch Gary and me on a little television program called Simply the Law of Life in Central Kentucky. We're on your Fox affiliate on Monday mornings and Friday mornings, pretty early, but you can catch us. And then we're on the CW around lunchtime. So if you catch our program, tune in with us, have a laugh, share some information. We enjoy it, and hopefully you will too. Our radio program is on just about every local station that you'll find each and every week at the same time. My friend, I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to be here, Keith.
On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for listening to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Hello, I'm Keith Casebolt from Creative Media of Kentucky. Congratulations on entering into the world of politics. Now, your upcoming race is going to require all of your focus on the issues and those who are going to possibly vote for you. So, the one thing that you don't need to worry about is the media. I'm talking bumper stickers, billboards, newspaper print, radio, television, digital. Who do you buy? Cable, broadcast. There's a lot of decisions to be made. We're the experts at that. We take all of that off your plate, put your campaign together, and handle all of the buying and all of the production. Now that gives you the time to do what you need to. Meet all of the voters, focus on the issues, and get elected. Give us a call at Creative Media of Kentucky.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.